Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go Devils!
Well, it's going to be quite a few months until we say let's go Devils again. This is our first podcast since the Devils were eliminated in Game 5 on Tuesday night by the Canes. It's Chris and Bob, Uncle Puckers, Timmy will be joining us shortly, but I guess it's kind of be a little bit of I don't want to get too much into, the depressing. That's why we took a couple of days off between recordings, so we can all kind of just kind of digest this season, because it was a crazy ass season.
Yeah.
And now, we'll talk a little bit. I like I said, I don't want to do the whole post-mortem right now into like what needs to change. Hey, Timmy.
There it is.
Into what needs to change and stuff. We have plenty of time for that. What I kind of want to do tonight before we get to some fun stuff like our weekly Uncle Pucker Snake Draft of the Week is just your overall feeling of the season, the playoffs, things like that. So any thoughts, any other thoughts that you have too? So Bobby, I'll let you start it off here, buddy.
You brought up a good point about taking a couple days off. It really does help you kind of put it into perspective. I'm not going to dwell on the regular season too much. I think that it's hard for us in these chairs to not overanalyze, because we feel like it's kind of part of the job. I mean, we want to just be fans and say one thing, and then you think another when you're looking at it with a critical lens. So seasons are going to have their ups and downs. You deal with some injuries. I thought that I was most disappointed probably with the end, because it was only a few weeks ago we had a show after maybe a few solid wins or at least a few good games in a row, that we were showing how easily they can almost be right at 100 points or 99 points, and how successful of a season that is in the NHL, especially nowadays. Like, seriously, they say it a lot with the parity, but it's freaking true. I mean, there is a lot of parity here, and these teams are very closely matched. It usually just comes down to like one or two things, and grit and effort and luck and health, So I was a little disappointed with that. The end, it was the only time of the year that I'm looking back now, and I can honestly say that I was truly disappointed. Yeah, we joked they couldn't get 4 in a row and that kind of thing, and they definitely had some bipolar mood swings throughout the year. But a hockey season is really tough. What I saw in the playoffs was what I wanted to see, especially towards the end there. We said all the right things about no excuses and all that, and we've also said, you know what, that's bullshit. I've never seen a team try to overcome the amount of loss we had, especially on the blue line. Essentially, wasn't even our blue line for the entire year. Not one guy, not two guys. You know what I mean? Like, depth is having an extra good player. Great depth is having an extra 2 great players, and you can't ask for a whole defensive swap. I would have been concerned, and I said it during the year, to play Carolina with any of our lineup. I just don't like the way we play against them. So even at 100% healthy, I would have been scared in this series. But for me, the way they played, and I know it's a 4-1 series win, but other than game 1, I just thought that everything was fairly close. If we had a shred of our power play, as I mentioned before, maybe we pull out another game or two. Who knows? It was just too much to overcome. But that effort is something that just makes me really happy. And it sucks that we're not still playing, but I can't hold it against the guys that were left on the team. I'm not going to sit here and be like, they wasted an opportunity. I think they were just dealt a terrible hand. And that's with the players on the roster. We could talk about what the roster did or did not become as a different topic, but the players on the roster, to a man, I thought gave it their all. That being said, a little bit of the bottom 6, you got to question if that was your all. I really would have expected a little more, but the core at least, and just the energy that they tried to give, they were wiped out. They were exhausted. So overall, I'm leaving the year with a good feeling, but they got a lot of work to do.
Timmy Badney, you're up.
The bad knee. It's yeah. That's good. It gets a little creaky. I was sitting on the porch and I don't know. It's
You're such a hick.
Old man sitting on the
Sitting
porch.
on your rocking chair on the porch with
Eating
Bartles
iced
and
tea.
James.
Eating the bear that my dogs killed the other night. You're good boys. No, it's just, I'm not mad. We came into this season and it was so promising, and the first couple months were great, and we're kind of flying high. And I think that game 5 was kind of a microcosm of how the entire season sort of unfolded. End of December, we were contenders. We were right there. Everybody was healthy. We were clicking. Then the cracks started showing, and that's kind of like the first period. Everything was working. We're up 3-0. Then shit just fell apart, and everybody got hurt. And look, we've said this before. It's there's just too many injuries to overcome. I'm proud of the guys that the way that they competed and the way that they played. I think they did kind of give it what they got. And to be honest, a lot of those guys, pretty clear they didn't have a lot to give. We lack some serious talent. I think there's something floating around where we broke a record for the most defensemen played in a postseason series in 5 games. Which
Coming
that's
from a team that up until I think December ran the same 6 guys out there every single game, and then to have it fall apart like that is crazy. I didn't know that we were
I saw a couple people quote that. I didn't see like an actual number
I
of
would
that,
believe
but
it, though.
that seems like, because usually when you get into the
seems right.
playoffs, everybody's kind of healthy. Maybe they swap one guy in or out, but generally speaking, like just to have everybody go down like that, and then to have a clearly not healthy Dougie come back, when the team needed him, a clearly not healthy Siegenthaler come back when the team needed him, the way Nemec stepped up. It sucks we lost Kovacevic to that knee injury now, which he says he's going to need surgery. Dylan sounded like he had kind of a scary neck injury. Luke, who knows? They're shrouded that in mystery.
The
They didn't
Dylan
even talk about
injury
that.
is weird to me because when you see it, he got tangled up with Martinook, and it looked a lot more like a knee or something, and then he couldn't get off the ice, and that it was a neck injury is kind of weird to me. Like, when the hell did that happen?
I don't know. And next sometimes, like you move wrong and something could happen. I mean, look,
Sure, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's us when when I sleep wrong and I wake up and my knee hurts for some reason.
Right.
But
and you don't play hockey because of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm skipping beer league for you guys, just so everybody knows. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed because we started out so well, but I'm not really all that upset because of the way things ended up. And this is kind of we saw this coming. And that's, they just ran out of gas. And that happened in the game, that happened in the season. Carolina's a good team. And they're the old adage, there are 2 teams playing out there, and we played a better one. Washington's going to kick the shit out of them if we were close in 3 of those games. One of those power plays we convert on here and there, but I think to a man, they're all about as good as they could have been. That's really kind of it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that you guys said. I mean, I was on watching a little bit on YouTube of the exit interviews. I got about 3 minutes in to Nico's, and I started part 2 first. They had put part 1 out, and I just turned it off because I felt and still feel so bad for these guys, because you have guys like Nico, Bratt, Timo, Markstrom, the whole defensive core, everybody that skated up on that blue line from game 1 to game 5. And to a man, they played their dicks off. They did they left it out there.
I actually saw dicks on the ice.
Well,
trail of dicks.
We should start doing that as Devil fans. Every time there's a goal, fuck the cookies. Let's just throw dicks out there.
Dicks out there.
That's it.
And
disclaimer: we don't really want to see anybody throw.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody's dick.
Chris's closet, by the way, is full of them. Just
closet full of dicks.
One battery goes off. They all go off.
Misguided business venture.
Yeah, those in the the Joe Biden urinal cakes. For some reason, they just never took off. I don't know why.
I wanted to do a MAGA grift at one point, just so.
Yeah, the MAGA grift is the best because I mean, well, hell, Trump's been doing it for fucking
Yeah.
8 years now. So I mean, we could
And
have definitely jumped in on that. But the
another
game,
thing, was,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I just another thing that I wanted to say, and I forgot to. I think you kind of have to continue to try and look at this from this group of players and the macro level of how it's evolved over the past couple of years. 2 years ago, I think we were a little bit over our skis. They set a franchise record, but they were playing above probably what they were. They took 2 steps back last year, and now they took another step forward this year. And progress isn't always linear. Hopefully Jack and Luke come back fully healthy. Who knows who's going to go and who's going to stay. We can get into that later. As you said, the sort of post-mortem numbers, playing with RFAs and UFAs and buyouts and all that shit.
And
But,
there's a lot. There's a lot to be done.
We're back. There's a lot to be done. I think there's a lot of progress, but there is also a world. And I had this thought the other day where Tom Fitzgerald resigns everybody and says, I owe it to these guys to run it back for another year. In which case I will jump off a fucking bridge.
And of course, you always have that fear. We're not the ones making the decisions, so we don't know. But I think anybody that has any semblance of a brain between their ears looks at this team and says this bottom 6 has to be remade. Maybe all of them, or so it really does depend. And then moves that you have to make throughout the season, you have to get better. But as far as, and where I was going with this was when I was watching on YouTube and I was looking at some of the comments, somebody had written, I like Nico, but captain material, ? Like Scott Stevens used to get out there and scream at these guys. And I just wrote back, and I never reply. So Pucker Chris just replied back, like, look, man, people lead in different ways. Nico leads with what he does on the ice. And from game 1 on, Nico Hischier played his absolute ass off. Any single time that guy is on the ice, he doesn't take a shift off. He busts his ass. He's one of the best two-way players in the league. He's the only offensive threat we actually had in these playoffs. I mean, I thought Timo played great. But regardless, Nico Hischier is the backbone of this team. And they'll go and they follow him. I mean, that's simple.
They all taking
shifts off, we're swept. None of these games are close. Game 5 doesn't get the double overtime. Every game was close except for game 1 and could have gone either way. And 2 of the wins one of the wins had to go extra time twice. Nico Hischier's a stud. Timo Meier really showed me these playoffs that he's a big-time guy, big-time player. But more importantly, I want to discuss Szymon Nemec, who showed me, and I think everybody, that he is a big-time player. And I didn't think he was. I honestly had so many reservations about this guy, and I love that he proved me wrong. I really do, because he, regardless of whether he gets put into a package and traded or whatever, if he stays in New Jersey or if he goes somewhere else, we have a really solid dude that can grow into being one of the best defensemen in this league. He was getting the lion's share of minutes in game 5, late in that game, the overtimes, and late in period 3. And that wasn't because everybody was gassed. They were, but it was because he was actually the best defenseman out there. And I thought that our D-corps played goddamn gladiators out there every night. Brian Dumoulin, somebody needs to pay that man and put him in their starting lineup because he's too fucking good. I liked a lot of, it's hard to say, like, looking at a losing season, a losing playoff round, and say that you can find positives in it. But I think you can, as Devil fans, look at this and just say, yeah, Bobby, you're right. The injuries were, look, man, for 35 years, I've been deep into sports. I have never seen a team have to deal with the amount of injuries that this team did. And I mean, it was
not throughout a year. We're not talking about everybody losing a player in there. We're talking about all of them all at once going to the playoffs. I've just never seen it.
Yeah,
I still stand by the adage.
Happened twice. Like Jack Dougie's Deeks all within a week. So we had to figure that out and adjust that. And look, I said I would do this, and I'm kind of softening on my Fire Fitz take. Some of the things are coming out about trade packages. Like, Ryan O'Reilly, like Trotz wanted Nemec, Mercer, and the first for fucking Ryan O'Reilly.
Right.
And it's like, come on.
I think that package was comparable for Rickard Raquel with Pittsburgh. I think it was something
Yeah.
along those
And
lines
it's just like,
too. Just too
I
much.
get it. He had his hands were tied, and he couldn't do anything about it at the time. That's just one of the unfortunate kind of undercurrents of the season was the whole Eastern Conference being so competitive that it fucked up the marketplace. You know, the Rantna thing fucked up the marketplace and made it really a seller's market in a time when it would have been much better for the Devils for it to be a buyer's market. So, that's just another tough thing though that we had to endure. But they rallied. We didn't have the talent towards the end. We didn't have it, and we didn't, between the injuries, lack of talent, bottom six, power play going cold, like it wasn't meant to be. But I still think, with some moves, like this team is still on the rise and still is going to be a dangerous team. And to your point about Nico, like I was arguing with someone on Twitter about this. It's just like, what do you like? Just the people that have it in their heads that leadership needs to be one specific way. This sort of Messier, Stevens, 1990s. I can guarantee it's probably guys like 50 plus. Sorry, that are yelling like this is that you need to be yelled at. Like I can guarantee those guys don't run a company or
Well,
don't.
I also, it's you name, like, if you go back to that era of hockey, like there were a lot of great captains that weren't Mr. Vocal screaming at everybody, that let their play dictate,
Yeah.
their actions or whatever. Steve Yzerman, like Yzerman wasn't out there screaming and yelling at everybody. Like it was get on my back, follow
Matt
me.
Sundin didn't even speak.
Wayne
Right.
fucking Gretzky.
Right. Wayne Gretzky.
Like it comes in all shapes and forms.
Leadership has a lot of
and now these teams have leadership groups, and it's just
fucking
get over it. If you don't like Nico being the captain, go follow another fucking team.
The last time that the Puckers as a collective even questioned that was our first year, and it was 3 years ago, where we just kind of said, is he the right captain? Maybe he looks a little soft. Remember, we talked about the same things. He looks like
his
always
age
hurt,
was also part of it. He's young.
Right. Do you know why? Also, that the last time that we brought that up, because that was a totally different team. There's a team that's blowing up, like everything's going right, goals are going in left and right. They're just powering through the league. Little adversity really seemed like it was the big fucking deal. You look at the guy now when the shit got tight. When all that kind of comes back down to reality and they're playing more of a full hockey game against like evenly matched teams, when they're up against a team like Carolina and you see the way he plays. Does that make any sense? Like it's just when it was all flash and dance, maybe you're questioning it because it's a different type of game. But when the shit hit the fan, when it became like a man's game, he was right there leading the whole way.
Sheldon Keefe had said it a couple of weeks ago. I don't think I've given him an easy shift all year. And that's just the truth. I mean, Nico Hischier has the toughest assignments every single time he gets on the ice. And he still manages to score 30-plus goals, 70-plus points by being this,
beat us in the playoffs.
Four goals these playoffs.
In 5 games. I mean, this team is and you saw it last year when Jack went out earlier, like in the beginning of the year, right? I think that was he got hurt and then he got hurt again. He was out a little bit longer, I think. I get, but Jack's injuries
he got hurt early. He was on a tear, then got hurt early. And
so his first time he got hurt, like the team, I think lost maybe 1 game. They didn't miss a beat. When Nico went down, you started seeing the wheels come off. He is the leader. It's that simple. And this team will go as far as Nico Hischier goes. And Nico Hischier can bring this team to a Stanley Cup down the road. But again, lots of changes have to be made. I mean, I just look at 2 guys. If Luke and Jack were in this series, I think it goes different. Mm-hmm. Now, if Luke, Jack, Dilly, and Kobe are in this thing from the beginning, I mean, who the hell knows what? I think this team could have definitely gotten past Carolina.
We had to dress Dennis Cholowski in a game. What the fuck?
Dennis Cholowski never played 1 playoff game until game 4.
No.
And that was his first. And or 5. 5 was his first. or whatever. I don't know how many games he played. But this season was his first playoff game ever. Seamus Casey gets playoff, experience. Simone Nemec. Brett Pesce just proved that, he's a fucking warrior, man. This guy, and he's about at 40%. right now and
Well,
playing
he
the way
looked
he
like,
played.
other than like Nico, he looked like the one guy that just absolutely wanted to refuse to lose.
Yeah.
It didn't happen, of course, but it's not for any of his effort. He did
And
absolutely everything he could.
I like all season what Sheldon Keefe did. I do think absolutely Fitz got the right man for the job. I have full confidence in Sheldon Keefe moving forward with this thing. And I have full confidence in the core. And right now, I'll say the core is our top six and Markey. And I have, and well, the defense, I mean, we're talking guys on the D, sure, but I'm talking just, the main guys like Markey did. I mean, he's that goalie, right? He's not Brodeur where he's going to let one by. And if it's a 1-0 game or a 2-1 game and, the team needs one other goal, it's a low scoring game. Marty's not giving that second or third goal up. He's just not. He can lock it down. Markey will give up 3 or 4, but he makes the clutch save when he has to. And that was obvious in game 5. Like, yeah, there were some questionable goals, but I'm not putting this series on Markey.
No.
I think he played his ass off, and I'm fine with him being our starter next year. And I like that Dawes will be backing him up. I think that could be huge. It's just I feel bad for these guys. I really do. Just to see to go out there so undermanned. There's nothing worse in any job. And you go into work and fucking 5 people called out that day, and you're just like, great, today's gonna absolutely suck because I have to do 6 people's fucking jobs, or I got to
every
spend all
goal
day showing people how to do this shit. That was
for every goal that was quote unquote soft on Markstrom, I could show you like 4 mistakes that were made in front of him leading to that goal. And it's just, like the short side one that he gave up to Jackson Blake. It's just like, yeah, well, we had 2 defensemen in the corner, like Lindy Ruff's old flood system that I'm still talking to my therapist about. A center also there. They lost the battle, and then Bratt turned the wrong way to go try and play the point. So it's like, like all that happened to allow Jackson Blake to even get a shot off. Maybe Markstrom should have stopped Slavin's goal, but Nason made that awful fucking turnover at the blue line.
Yeah, he did.
It's a cumulative team game, and Nico, Bratt, Jack, Timo, those are 4 guys up front. Luke, Pesci on the back end right now. I do think Dougie's coming back. I think he was clearly very hurt, and I've been defending Dougie left and right, but if we are to free up money, I think he's probably the smartest one to move on for because he does carry a lot of value. There is a lot of value in him and from a low end number 1 power play quarterback type. If we have to eat a little bit of that $9 million to make it a little more palatable, that's fine. But I think that is probably the best move. I think what it's going to come down to is Kovacevic's timeline because Nemec has clearly now got a spot with Kovacevic, supposedly not going to be ready for training camp. So Nemec is going to be entrenched on that right side. So what happens then? So we can get into all of that, but
yeah, I mean, I would personally just a quick, looking at this, I agree with you. Dougie Hamilton should be traded this summer, whether or not he is or not. It doesn't matter. He will be. I'm a big fan of getting rid of guys a year or 2 before that drop off. You got to do it when they have value. For 4 years now, he's played 1 year where he hasn't gotten hurt. And the injuries are they're too much to overcome. And so what do you do if Kovacevic isn't coming back? Well, maybe you lock Dumoulin up for a year at a decent rate to be your 7th defenseman. And at least you have somebody dependable that can come in and start whenever you need. And the way this team goes, they're going to be needed. So, the last 2 years have been brutal with the injuries. But so something, I don't know. I mean, if Jack starts now next year, it's a leg, and then his right leg, and then the year after, it's his left leg. And, at some point, he's got to stay healthy. At some point, you got to, a lot of people, not a lot of people, everybody looks at a team's failure in the playoffs, and then the next year they go on and they do something special, right? Tampa Bay got swept by Columbus. They won a couple of cups. Florida makes it, just into the playoffs on the last day. They make it to the final. They're beat up, banged up. Vegas beats them. The next year they come back and win.
Yeah, Toronto just beat Ottawa,
so Toronto moves on.
Yeah.
This whole season could be that for the Devils. The amount of adversity, and that's the playoffs, right? The playoffs are all overcoming adversity. It's a war of attrition, and the Devils went through it all year. So I do think that that's going to help them next year. Like, I do think that this year, with all the bullshit that was laid on them and the playoff run that happened, the injuries that wouldn't, like we talk about, I do think that that's going to be a catalyst for them moving forward. I do. I think that they can build off of this. They can become a much tighter, better team because of this. And look, they showed it. They are willing. If this team is 100%, and we have a few extra guys in, on the offseason that we add, and they play with this tenacious, never giving up kind of fucking attitude and play, they can go far.
Look at how many of the players in the team were playing well above their depth and line placement.
Yeah.
It's just not where you expect. You didn't ever, when you got Nason and you were all excited, you weren't picturing he might be on line 1 for a playoff game, you know what I mean? Or line 2 even. You're picturing him grinding out on that bottom line and getting you that odd goal. And, of course, being the power play guy that he was at least the first half of the year. I mean, he's just not designed to be up on a top 6. It's just That's just not how it works.
At this point in Palat's career, he should not be playing on the first line. Guys were not slotted anywhere where they should have been. And it's because of the injuries. It sucks. It does suck.
That's my number one need to get out of contract. And honestly, like, I'm glad he played really well in the playoffs, because
he has value.
He has value. Like, that gives him value. Send him to Detroit. Stevie Y loves him. Stevie Y drafted him. Stevie Y developed him.
I mean, you mentioned about that Mercer, Nemec, and a number 1 pick to Detroit. Or no,
I'm not trading Nemec.
Oh, who was it to Detroit? You said, was it Palat, Hamilton,
Palat, Dougie, and Casey
Casey. Okay, for Dylan Larkin. And again, you could the Devils now have obvious needs. They have some guys that you could move off of that have value still. You can build this team. But my point is basically you have the core to build around now. Like, I think it's obvious now. Your core is fucking good. Your core can hang with anybody. Build around it. Give them all the pieces that they need. Don't overcorrect. Don't go out and get 6 more Cody Glasses now. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Do it right. And, we'll see how it goes.
We need a diversity in our roster. We don't need a bunch of guys that do the same type of thing.
Right.
Like, we swung the pendulum over to the kind of grit and tough guyness, and, that didn't really work out because we couldn't score for shit. I do think some of the guys that were on the roster year over year that regressed pretty significantly, Palat, Hala, Lazar, Bastian, Mercer, I think those 5 guys were probably the leading culprits in kind of what happened in this season is guys that were expected to be a certain place and play a certain role did not deliver in those roles.
1,000%. Well said, Tim. And I think I'm fine with all of those 5 guys leaving this team.
Yeah, I mean, Lazar's contract's done, Tatar's contract's done, Bastian's contract's done. Hala, Palat, there are no movement or no trade clauses loosen up a little bit. Dougie's no trade clause loosens up a little bit. I think we're really, 3C is still going to be the big gaping hole that we need to fill, and then a top 6 wing. We need an elite scoring wing to fill in. Gritsuk, I don't know what he's going to look like, where he's going to play. I think he's probably going to have a role carved out for him. I don't know if they're going to tell him, like, hey, you got to go to the AHL first or not.
Because you certainly don't want to bring him in just assuming, your future looks like you're going to be a number 1 wing, so we're just gonna do that now.
Yeah, exactly. We fucking did that with Holtz, and we ruined him. Right. Maybe it was a little bit on him as well, but like that didn't work out for him. There's also Lenny Hamaniho, this Malofsky kid who I think is actually pretty promising. Cam Squires, who's pretty promising. Or Footer Hallinan gonna get opportunities to crack the roster. There are some guys that can come up and kind of fill in there, but we need someone to grab that fucking role and be that guy that comes out of our system now. We've had 4 guys.
That's it. Bobby, go ahead. I knew you were
sorry. Chris and I have been talking so much, Bob. Sorry.
That's kind of the feeling I get at this point going into next year, other than UFA moves and stuff that we can do and other types of trades. Like, I feel like we're now at the precipice where it's like, you're going to figure out which of your prospects are due, and that's it. They got to be like Nemec can't have a mixed role again next year. He's not an up and down guy. He's either on this team or you're moving away from him, because we have depth situations. We've got depth down the defensive line too, which I know you don't have to look at, but the reality is we got a guy or two coming, right? Especially one. And you really got to start to figure this out because you don't need all of Hamilton, Nemec, Casey, and even Luke in that group of that kind of offensive ability.
I think we do. I think
we need all four of them.
I think we need at least 3 offensive puck moving defense.
No, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying though. There's
Yeah.
like Nemec needs a role on this team. And then for me, it's like, where does that leave Casey? Well, the good news is we don't have to worry about Casey for another year, right?
No, we don't. I think Casey could use another year in the AHL. Like he looked pretty overmatched in Game 5,
but find out. I guess what I'm saying is find out what we truly have, and it's either the time where they have to step up and then you fill in the team other ways, or you don't. Like if Foote cannot make this team next year, then what's going on with, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, where are you with him? Is he just career AHLer? Can you move on from him? Can you do whatever? Just figure out who the real up and coming core is too. And then you're also you're going to get hopefully your top winger, hopefully figure out your 3C. Because if we got a guy like Glass playing 4C, I mean, I'm loving that concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where, you know, we all want immediate results as fans, right? But what Fitz's job to do is to balance that long term and short term. You know, that's why, you know, he held on to Nemec at the trade deadline, you know, which is obviously now proving to probably be a pretty good move.
Yeah, that was savvy. Go ahead, B.
No, I was just saying, right, because, you know, the job of the manager, like you said, is, I mean, these are really hard decisions. So he has to be realistic too. So he's sitting there looking at the prospect of this team and how far they can realistically go. And he's weighing how many assets people want to acquire another asset. And he has to literally be honest and be like, but what if? I mean, if we don't and we give up all this. Now, I understand the people out there who are like, you need to go for it mentality. I'm one of those guys too. It remains to be seen if when the time is truly right, if Fitz does have that go for it mentality.
That's true.
He did when he got Timo Meier.
I would say that, yeah, for Timo, I would say he did. But in retrospect, which is hard for people to admit, not to see, but to admit, he probably did make the right decisions because with the way this team was constructed, I don't know that there was any miracle player coming in that gets us much further than this, if even past this. There was too many other obstacles to get past this. So, I mean,
I think we, you know, the guys that we had, if they stayed healthy, you know, and if say we did have a fully healthy Dougie and a fully healthy Siegs, and Luke and Dylan are both healthy, and Kovacevic is healthy, like I think we give Carolina a much better series.
Oh hell yeah!
You know, I think you know we at least push them to 6, if not 7, if not win that series. Like Carolina's not a fucking good team. They're gonna get the shit kicked out of them by Washington. At least I hope so.
You know, you go back to like 94, 95, right? Devils, when Lou was putting that team together, it was a veteran team. You know, Sans Brodeur, who was a rookie in 95, but they were a veteran team. They had been together for a while. They win the cup. Then we have 5 years of not making the playoffs, being ousted in the first. I think the farthest we got before 2000 was the second round. Yes. And what happened in 2000? Young guys came in. Guys from our system, John Madden, the Gomez and stuff, and White. This influx in White, this influx of young homegrown talent that took the team to the next level. We've yet to see that from Fitz. We're seeing it a little bit with Nemec and with Casey, but I agree with you, Tim. If I have to pick one now, and I'm completely different than I was 3 months ago, and I like Seamus Casey a lot, it's Simone Nemec, because Nemec showed that he can play in high leverage situations and be very good in high leverage situations. Seamus Casey is not there yet. He might be down the road. I love his offense. I love that he can move the puck. I love his passing. I love his shot. I like a lot about the kid, but he needs seasoning. But you know, you're right. The guys down below, the Foote, the Hallinens, like, are these guys getting a chance? Or are we just keeping guys in the AHL and not even thinking about them? They're just a replenishing system if somebody gets hurt. Are you developing these guys to now take the next step? Will they have a legitimate, who's down there that Fitz is going, I don't want to really make a trade right now for this person because I think I have A and B down in Utica that can fight for that spot. Do we have
LeChance,
that's
Laguerre, the
yeah.
Lalos, the
So that's what I want to see too.
There is a map, although it's fluid and it changes. There is literally a systematic map where they're forecasting when that asset becomes an NHL asset, if all things go right. And of course, that doesn't always happen. So that's kind of my gut feeling. I'm like, are those guys still there? Does he see the succession? Okay, we're out of the Bastion contract. We could put foot right in there and not lose a beat and probably gain a beat. You know what I mean? But is it still like that is the point? Because if it's not, then that's where you need to add to that map in whatever way you can. Because if he's doing it the way he should be doing it, it is a particular layout. It's kind of like the orchestra thing that, Lou Lamoriello said, like, there really is like the type of player and style of player, whatever his vision is that he wants in each role, guiding each line and the way they want to play. So if you don't have the pieces that you think come up into that puzzle, then you got to move on from them.
Yeah. We also just need Fitz to stop saying stupid shit every summer. Like, like believing in VTech and then, big game hunting. And then I know what this team wants. I know what this team craves.
Right.
I'm not worried about scoring. And there's another kind of layer too is it was only year one with Keefe. And he saw some pretty transformational, like immediate transformational impacts from both Luke and Jack. I'll count those two out in particular, but I think Nico elevated his game. I think Brad elevated his game in the regular season. I thought Brad was okay in the playoffs. He didn't really blow my socks off, but he was good. I think Timo could have been a little better in the regular season, was great in the playoffs, but
I think that's what you're going to get with Timo, man. I really do. I think that's him.
I just want to see him do that and fucking like put up 30 goals at least, man. But really having Keefe's systems.
He's a $9 million a year menace.
Yeah. He's overpaid.
Hot March.
But...
Yeah, well, wait till Sam Bennett gets the same thing for 10 goals a year. So, but like what I'm saying is it takes sometimes a year or two, honestly, to fully integrate those instincts of someone's system into your play style and to get the stink of the former system out of your system.
Yeah, 1,000%. You see it in every sport. The second year, if you have success, that second year you can take that big step forward because, again, like you said, it's familiar now. It's not all right. We're changing into Sheldon Keefe's system from Lindy Ruff's system. Now this is Sheldon Keefe's system. This is Devil system, and I like I said, I have no issues with Sheldon Keefe, and I'm not on the Fire Fitz train anymore. I was up until these playoffs where the team showed me. It wasn't anything Fitz fucking did, but these guys and that coaching staff showed me that they're big game players, that they can do what the Florida Panthers do. They can do what the Vegas Golden Knights do. They can be that good. And we have a lot of players that can hang with those guys, but we just don't have the rest. And we need to get healthy. I mean, that's really simple. Yeah, Carolina has an embarrassment of riches as far as the health goes. I mean, they were healthy, and you can't compete with that, man. You can't compete with that.
Like Jack, Nico, and Brad, like are very good players. They're not McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid and Draisaitl can carry a team better than Brad and Nico can carry a team. Brad and Nico need a better supplemental cast, a better supporting cast of players. Meanwhile, someone like Carolina, they have 12 of basically the same fucking guy, and they don't need to have two or a superstar. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But like Aho stepped up for them, Svechnikov stepped up for them. So
Jarvis,
that model is going to get them what it's gotten them like 6
what was that, Bob?
years. I said that model is going to get them what it's gotten them 6 straight years, another second round loss.
Yeah,
right.
I think so
it's
too.
In the blueprint, it just literally is in the blueprint.
And their owner only gives a shit about money. He's not. I don't think he's in it for the win.
Not a hockey guy.
Well,
look, we're gonna do a little some commercials here, and then we're gonna have some fun. Okay, and we're gonna do our snake draft of the week. But first,
I'm very excited for this. I did some research.
Oh, you did research. Oof. Okay, I did a little research too. I should say. The NBA. Go ahead. What, Bob?
No. Go ahead.
Tim. All right. let me do this real quick. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And new DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.com/audio. That's DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours.
Good job, buddy.
Thanks, dude. All right. So yeah, we have the Uncle Pucker Snake Draft of the Week here. And today's category is the most underrated bands. Okay, overrated. It was overrated.
I was not prepared for underrated.
Nope, over. My bad.
Vegas just won too. So
Wild's out.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, no game sevens. It's boring.
I'd be doing really well if I didn't root for the Devils.
I think I actually picked every single incorrect winner in my bracket so far. Maybe besides the Capitals. Yeah,
I got the Florida series wrong.
Oh, I picked Tampa, Colorado was my Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, is Colorado still in it?
They're down 3-2 to Dallas.
They're down 3-2. Okay,
yeah.
So
I didn't think Dallas stood a chance with their Heiskanen out and their right side of their D and Robinson out. But
I'm trying to find our picks real quick. This might be in this notebook, actually. Okay, so what's the Edmonton LA series at?
I think that's 3-2 Edmonton.
Edmonton. Okay. So let's see. Tim, you had the Kings in 7. Bob had Kings in 7. I have Kings in 6. It's not happening. And Tony had Edmonton in 7. Dallas, Colorado. Tony and me took Dallas in 7. Bobby took Colorado in 7. You took Colorado in 5. Jets St. Louis, is that over?
I don't think so. I think that might be going to game 6.
All right, so I'm the only one that I took St. Louis in 6. That's not you guys all took the Jets. Vegas, Minnesota. What that series go 6, right?
1-6, yeah.
All right, so Bobby and Tim got that one right. Tony and I took Vegas in 5. I took Toronto in 7. Bobby took them in 6. Tim took them in 7, and they won in 5. And Tony took Ottawa in 7. I meant Toronto. Did I say? I think I messed those up. Caps, Habs. We all took the Caps. I took them in 7. Tony in 6. Bobby in 5. So you're dead on that one too.
Oh boy, Bob.
Or is that went 5 or 6?
Oh, 5.
Okay.
5.
And you took them in 6. Florida, Tampa Bay. All of us took Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
7-7-7, and I took them in 5. Yeah, I was so bold. I thought they're beating the champs in 5. Where every year I forget how freaking amazing the Florida
They're
Panthers
so
are.
good, man. I want that team. Like, they're so fucking good.
It's annoying.
Right. They're big. They're mean. They're fast. They're better than everybody.
They're annoying.
They don't give a shit. Like, it's just there's so much fucking
random
fun.
number generator.
Winnipeg Blues is tomorrow, game 6.
Okay,
it's cool.
All right. So how this works for the snake draft is I won last week, so I picked the category. That's why I picked overrated bands. But the order of the draft we do through a random number generator. We all pick a number 1 through 10. Tim, 1 through 10.
7.
Bob?
10.
I'm going 3. All right. Here's our random number generator and generate. 6.
So Tim.
All right.
Tim goes first. I go second. Bob goes third.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. So, Tim, you have the number 1 overall selection in the Uncle Puckers Snake Draft most overrated band ever.
The Beatles.
God damn it. Damn it.
Tim goes with the Eagles. Now,
The Beatles.
let me just say,
Beatles.
you make your point. If you want to back up that choice at all, and then we'll give you your floor to back it up. But then we're open for counterpoints. All right, so we can. So
the
the Eagles
suck. The Beatles, not
the
the
Beatles.
Yeah,
I said the
Beatles.
Beatles.
The Beatles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's see your why.
Because they suck. They're the most derivative. Like they started the whole 4-chord phenomenon of bullshit. They're bad musicians. Their songs were fucking stupid. And yeah, that's really kind of it. I don't like them. Never have. Never will.
Bob, you want to add anything?
Well, I will say that was also going to be my first pick, but I'm going to be a little more lenient than Tim on this and just say that I completely understand that they had a time that they were very important to the music community and what they brought.
Were they?
They were.
Come on, Tim, stop.
But
You're
why?
not that fucking
Why
dumb.
were they?
I'm
Because
not-
they were
there's-
cute little
hold
boys
on,
who
no,
came
no,
over
no,
from
no.
London.
I'm on your side here.
There are tons of other bands that were
I'm
Bro,
on
better.
your side. I'm on your side, but listen.
There is not one band that is famous today that would not, and I don't give a shit what the genre is. It can be anything from fucking metal to punk to pop that do not say that the Beatles influenced them. So you are completely off base on that one. They are by far the most influential band ever. You might not like their music, but that's fine. My thing with the
That's what
Beatles
this
is, well, again, is it? Because my first pick or a pick that I have is a band I actually like, but I can actually defend why they're the most overrated band ever. But when it comes to the Beatles, I put the Beatles in a class with a few other bands, and I'll say Radiohead is one of those bands. I really like Radiohead. I really like the Beatles. The thing is, though, when you're an experimental genius, okay, like Radiohead, like Paul, like John, these guys that do music on a different level. You're going to get shit sometimes because you don't really get to that brilliant genius without that shit, right? You get the garbage that the Beatles have made, unlistenable music, some of it, okay?
Yeah.
But then you get Revolver or you get the White Album, and they're transformational. Like when it comes to Radiohead, like you get, Kid A or In Rainbows, but they're garbage. They're unlistenable. But then the Bends or OK Computer, stuff that doesn't just, it's good. Stuff that blows you away. And that's where I'll put the Beatles. I think they are the most influential band ever, which could be another category down the road. I've heard any people from death metal to punk rock to pop say they're influenced by the Beatles. Your talking points are talking points of, like, to me, everybody that has, every, I guess, like, too cool for the room guy, why we don't like the Beatles. I don't know why. I don't get this. They started the 4-chord. They were transformational musicians.
I mean, like,
but I cut
Sgt.
Bobby
Pepper
off and
was
went on a
influenced by
rant.
Pink
So
Floyd, whatever. Like, I just don't like them. Fuck them. We don't need.
I'm
to
just, like I was going to say, that I do believe they had their time. I think they have some epic songs that I absolutely love. I think their entire body of work for me is simplistic and boring. I don't care what it did for the music community. I'm just talking about overrated to me. And this whole list is probably going to make me a very unpopular person with my next few here. But that just always felt that way. It's beyond the fact that I'm not a fan. And again, I say that fully admitting there are some songs and even albums I think are really good. But I'm just coming from the standpoint of just overrated. And I think they are overrated in their talent. I think that the world passed by their sound. So for me, that's why they would have been my number one.
well, okay, the world passed by their sound.
I'm also not a musician, so don't take that
yet-
one like directly.
Yet there's no other band that has broken up 50 years ago. Broken up 50 years ago. Members are dead. There's one fucking remaining living member. Maybe no, there's two. But like half the band's dead. They've been gone forever.
Right.
and yet they are still one of the most
Overrated.
listened to, one of the most bought out musicians. Like these guys are that they
Overrated.
will last
Obviously, you
longer.
really like them.
I do
but
like
it's,
the Beatles,
it's,
but
it's 2-1 right now. We win.
just-
Move on.
okay, all right. So who has the second pick? Me.
You do.
All right, my first pick is again. I'm looking at this not just of music I like, but bands that I actually think are overrated.
Right.
And so I will say my first pick is Nirvana. And
Damn it! Everybody's taking my shit.
oh yeah, Nirvana.
I hate Nirvana.
Well, I don't hate Nirvana.
Really?
I like
Okay,
Nirvana.
yeah.
But and I like most of their music. But here's the thing with Nirvana: like they made two full, I think 2.5 albums, right? They have 2 LPs, 1 EP. I think that's it. Nirvana's blow up. They're why they got so famous to me was a timing thing, right? You're coming out of the 80s into the 90s. It's 90, it's 91. You have an entire country of people our age right at that time, 14 to 25, 26, whatever, that was just completely rejecting the fucking hair bands that were on and the bubblegum pop Britney Spears bullshit that was being shoved down our throats on every radio station. We hated it. That's why we listened to, like Bobby, you were big into metal. It was the other side of the spectrum, and I was into punk rock more and stuff, and that was the shit that I like, not anything mainstream. So everybody, and plus, like, none of these people on TV looked like us or acted like us. You know, we didn't spray paint our fucking hairs and hairspray our hair up and wear spandex. Like, we wore flannels and had long hair and fucking smoked cigarettes and like to just bum around. So when all of a sudden MTV puts this video on of Smells Like Teen Spirit, that entire group of people across the country, across the world, just had a collective, meltdown. They blew their minds. It was like nothing that you were hearing in mainstream music. So they are overrated for that. They are also overrated, in my opinion, because they have this moniker of the whole Godfathers of grunge thing. And no, they were not the first ever grunge band. They weren't the first band out of Seattle. You had the Melvins. You had Alice in Chains, for Christ's sakes. They were out first, and bands like that, and Mother Love Bone and Mudhoney and all these other cool bands, that just never got as famous as Nirvana, because Nirvana hit like right at the right time. It was all about timing with them. And they went from playing like 200 people clubs in Seattle to selling out major arenas around the world like that. So yeah, this blow up of and plus, you have an artist, a lead singer, who kills himself young. And now it's like that. Oh, what could have been, like
Body of work. Yeah.
Right. Like
they didn't
James
have a chance
Dean.
to get watered down like the Tiny Music of Stone Temple Pilots. Like,
right.
Exactly. Like, ooh, that album.
Or like other bands that I don't know. I love to think of what Nirvana might have sounded like if he survived. I don't think they would have been a band. You would have probably had a lot of Kurt Cobain solo shit and the Foo Fighters, and they probably would have be on Twitter wars with each other every day. It would be fantastic. But my whole thing is it was a timing thing. The suicide added to that lore of who they were, because they were new and they were mysterious and interesting, and we didn't have social media and all this shit. Like, if you wanted music, it was what was on the radio or what you heard at a record store, or you were at your buddy's house and you were like, wait, who is this? And it was, oh, I stole my fucking brother's tape and it's some band called The Replacements, and they blow you away. Never would have heard them before. But so for that, Nirvana, to me, number one most overrated band. Anybody want to push back?
I think I'll let Tim go first. I know he's more of a fan than us, and then I'll jump in.
No, I mean, I like Nirvana, but that's a pretty good argument. I just think every single argument that he made could be applied to the Beatles in the 60s.
Ooh,
the Beatles made more than 2.5 albums.
Yeah, made like 58 albums.
Yeah,
really
I get that, but they were new. They're something nobody ever heard before. They're a bunch of pretty fucking boys from overseas.
There was one major difference,
and they were terrible fucking musicians.
One major difference: the Beatles became worldwide What?
We're back on the Beatles.
Well, no, I'm just going to say this.
Let's just move on. Nirvana.
The Beatles
this is going to take an hour and a half.
We had worldwide recognition through radio play, and that was it. Like, they didn't have MTV, they didn't have all that. Like, for them to become famous, it was because a entire planet loved their music. And just for them to stay as long as they have stayed and be as relevant even today, 50 years later, we're arguing over them. Like, mission accomplished, dude. So,
Mission accomplished.
Bobby,
I like Nirvana better.
Just to follow up on Nirvana, because again, I thought this would be a very unpopular list for me when I get through it, if I had a chance to do any of the ones I picked. Because I probably hate a lot of music that a lot of people love, and I don't even actually hate Nirvana. They're one of those bands that I appreciate more now, older than I did then. I was almost against them for whatever reason. I didn't really like it. I understand some of their hits are actually really good as well, but to me, I just felt like they were overrated for everything that you've mentioned. And this whole, like, they're not the father of grunge to me. And even some of the bands you mentioned, I don't even have to go that far, but like there was STP and there was Pearl Jam and there was Alice in Chains and like all these bands, they were all really good too. I just don't understand the cult like following to Nirvana, I guess.
because he
is how
died.
I'd put it.
Because he
It
died.
must be. Yeah.
It's the
So,
James Dean
yeah.
effect, right? Like James Dean is this American heartthrob. James Dean made 3 movies, dude. That's it. Like he was in 3 movies, and he was a good-looking guy. We adore him now.
If you turn on Lithium on Sirius XM,
Mhm.
and if you listen for an hour, you will hear at least 2 Nirvana songs.
Yeah.
And if you listen all day, you will realize that they're playing the same 2 Nirvana songs.
Yeah,
Like
it's
all fucking day,
and
dude.
Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's
Yes,
it.
all
that
day.
Nirvana Unplugged is a pretty good.
It is. That is a
Look,
very
they had
good
tons
album.
of good stuff.
I agree.
Tons of good stuff. But are they overrated? Yeah, I think so.
They are overrated. Yeah.
Bobby, your number 1 pick.
Well, you already hit my number 1 and my number 2. I'm not going to go as deep as a dive into why for this particular band. It's just, to me, they're overrated. Appreciate a song or two and what they've kind of brought to mainstream, especially in the form of some sports anthem, but Queen. I don't understand the love of Queen. Sure, the guy was musically interesting and they have a pretty cool sound once in a while, but they're not a great band to me. I just think they're completely overrated. I mean, Fat Bottom Girls is a fun song to sing, but it's not a good song. Like, there's nothing great about that song. So there you go. Queen.
Good.
Okay.
Speaking of that, that is an anthem, though.
Well, Queen has probably more anthems than anyone else.
All right.
Dick.
Okay, so I really like.
No, that's for me. That's my anthem.
I really like.
Slim Pickett's down here in Maryland.
I bet. Freddie Mercury. I like him. I loved the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. I loved the whole story. The guy's got an amazing voice, ridiculous voice. But man, some of their songs and most of their songs are so fucking stupid. They're just fucking stupid.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
My bicycle. What?
Bohemian Rhapsody is like kind of fucking stupid. It's just like
if it wasn't for Wayne's World, we're not singing that song every day.
It's like, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
But if like they have way more really terrible music than they do anything listenable, in my opinion.
You can't actually buy their CD and like enjoy it going through. You're going to hear that 1 or 2 songs from the radio, and then you'll be like, "What is this?"
Yep. Yeah, I can't disagree with you, Bob.
Good album, good pick.
All right, Bob, your first pick of round 2.
Oh, that's right, snake draft. So this is where it gets complicated for me because in order to be an overrated band, I feel like you have to have reached a certain level of success, right? So there's bands on this list that like I really don't like, but I want to make sure I'm not just being biased and saying, I just don't like you. And I want to make sure they're actually overrated. So I'm having a real hard time kind of picking past my first 3 there. But I'm going to stick with kind of the theme of the old and just say I just never got the amazing appeal of our Rolling Stones. Love a couple songs, of course. Go to a lot of music festivals where people of my age, and we play a lot of that stuff. And I'm definitely down with it. But as a collective, they're the American version of the Beatles, or as Homer Simpson would say, what was he like? Give us our Beatles, take back your Rolling Stones, or some shit like that. He had it all back.
Tell him, Tim, or you?
Hey, Joe, Rolling Stones went 4th in our draft.
Oh, shit. Rolling Stones
Tim,
fan?
should I tell him?
No, that was his pick.
No. Should I tell Bobby yet that the Rolling Stones are not American, that they're from Britain?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. The Who is American.
The Who is
That's
America's
what I'm
Rolling
thinking of.
Stones.
My bad. Yeah.
So who are you picking? The Who or Rolling
What?
Stones?
The Rolling Stones.
Okay.
No.
All right. There's one Rolling Stone album I really like. It's Exile on Main Street. I love that album. It's bluesy. It's cool. I dig it. I don't think I've listened to every Rolling Stone album. Like, so I know like most of the more, from like probably Steel Wheels on a lot more, and that's just all bad. So I think there might be a world where I actually do like older Rolling Stones. I just never really gave a shit enough to sit down and listen to.
Sure.
I can absolutely see why they're on this list. Absolutely see.
That's a great pick. I don't want to see a fucking 80-year-old Mick Jagger licking the microphone. Like, get the fuck off the stage, man.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And all right, so
you'd rather see me like a microphone.
All right, so my first pick of round 2, well, my round 2 pick is sorry, all our Canadian listeners, but it's Rush. And all I'm gonna say about Rush is this. I said I did a little research. This was my research. 19 albums, 40 million records sold worldwide, not one good song. That's my fucking Rush argument.
No,
Tom
you
Sawyer?
can definitely,
Oh, God.
definitely take
Get out of here.
a song off of each album or two and make a nice little short, like Wide Awake in America, like a 4-song album.
Right.
That's really good. You could definitely do that.
And I still wouldn't buy it.
And I know that because I spent a lot of money on Rush CDs that I don't play. And when I do play them, I'm like, why do I own CDs?
I think fucking what the hell's the lead singer's name? Leo. Oh my God, I can't think of his fucking name.
Lee something.
Yeah, Lee. Geddy Lee.
Leo Getz.
Oh,
Leo
that's what I was thinking. Leo Getz. That's what I was fucking thinking. I would rather hear Joe Pesci sing than hear Geddy Lee sing. That's where I'm at. And all Rush fans' argument is Neil Peart's the greatest drummer in the world. No, he's not.
Did you
he's
just
fucking
did
good
you just
drummer.
retard voice my argument for Rush?
That's your argument again, Tim. Just get away from the masses. Stop. He's a good drummer, but he's not. That's all Rush fans ever say.
Because
Like,
he is.
look, Tom Sawyer's fucking terrible. Limelight or Lime, whatever the fucking song is, terrible. There's not.
I wish I had the
good...
power to like make you disappear for a minute.
If
like
I was Canadian,
like
I would start a fucking petition to have them fucking deported to America. That's how much. I mean, Geddy Lee's dead. Okay, I get it. I think Neil Peart dead too.
Yes.
All right, so 2/3 of the band is dead.
Listen to what you're saying about the dead, Chris. It's a lot of anti-dead people going on.
Yeah, a lot of anti-dead.
A lot of anti-dead.
Yes, I am anti-dead, actually. And so are you and you.
I am totally against dead people. Dead people are the worst.
Right. Anti-death in general. But yeah, I think Rush is, oh my God, so freaking overrated. Such a terrible band. So annoying to listen to. They hurt my fucking ears.
All right.
Should I go on?
No, you should not. You should stop.
Go ahead, you please. Counterpoint.
AC/DC.
Oh, you're not going to counterpoint my Rush?
No, because I've already tried, and you are going to put me in timeout.
I forgot I had that power, Tim. You just reminded me.
Yes.
Yeah, so AC/DC, huh?
Yeah, I just think everything sounds the same. Every single one of their songs sounds the same. There's nothing unique really about them. It's just power chords and a guy with a terrible voice. Speaking of terrible voices, not great. You know, they play in front of these huge crowds, kind of like with Queen. They have a couple of anthems, you know, like Thunderstruck, cool. But like, I could do without them.
Bob, you want any counterpoint to the AC/DC? I know you like them.
I like them on the fringe for sure. I have a couple of albums. I've got a really cool, the double live album that probably everybody has. And I will say that I think they have a few songs that are kind of like the ultimate hockey warm-up songs, which means they always have a place in my heart. Like we would go play in our street hockey and we'd pop up the hatchback and we'd play like Thunderstruck and shit like that. And I always have a soft spot for that. But I do listen to the rest of kind of their, like those albums. And I'm like, there's a lot of songs on here I really don't like. So yeah, I do enjoy AC/DC and some of like the hits. But when you dig deep into their catalog, I'm not a huge fan. So I don't really.
If I went to a concert, I'd be like, play Thunderstruck, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here.
Back in Black, and
But
Bells,
those are all the same. They're just like the same progression, the same power chords. It's just like same scale. It's just like
As far as AC/DC goes, like the songs that are on the radio, whatever, when they're on, they don't bother me. I don't pay them too much mind. They're kind of cool. Never in my 49 years on this planet have I ever once purposely put a AC/DC song on. Never. I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm really indifferent to AC/DC. Like,
except
I just
to warm
don't
up
give
for
a
a hockey game.
Well, or like I got the live album, and when Thunderstruck comes on, of course, there's like 2 minutes of thunder building up to the slow build up.
It's like how clever.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say that like psychs me the hell up for my next lift. Dude. It gets me going just like it would like in a hockey game. So I still do love that. But yeah, kind of beyond those few things, it's dirty deeds done dirt cheap is kind of like that's really stupid concept.
Talking about
and a whole lot of Rosie. Who the hell's Rosie? I don't want a whole lot of it. It sounds like I don't want any of it. You know what I mean?
Sounds like they and Queen should get together.
Yeah. All right, Tim. Your final pick of the overrated snake draft.
Oh shit! It's my turn again. Kiss. I think Kiss. If you peel back the cosplay and peel back the theatrics, their songs are probably the most ridiculous out of any kind of major sort of metal band. Like,
Would my wife asked me this? Would Kiss be famous at all if they didn't wear makeup?
No, I don't think so at all.
Didn't wear makeup like the world revolted. They're like, "Ooh, there was some ugly motherfuckers."
Yeah, they actually have it. They have a video, I think, where they're like walking down the street. I think I just saw it the other day, which reminded me of this. Like, they're just walking down the street. It's like fucking dorks.
In
fucking
like
dorks.
The mid 90s, maybe around there. I don't know exactly what year, but they came back with the makeup on, and I was working at a bar. They were doing a huge tour all around. It was the first time in however many years, like 15 years or whatever, 10 years that they're playing with their makeup on. They have some new material. So I was working at a bar. A couple of the people at the bar got box seats, the Anheuser box seats in Anheuser-Busch box seats in MSG. So I went. Now I went because I was seeing in newspapers and stuff that Alice in Chains was opening up for them. And at that time, like Alice in Chains, number one, like I loved them. So I wanted to go and see Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains, apparently I found out later that they were only opening them up for them on the West Coast shows. So they weren't here. So these two terrible bands, I don't even know who they were, opened. And then I got stuck watching Kiss. And it was fun, I guess. It's fireworks and guys in, dressed in leather like idiots in 10-foot heels, moving around to music. I was so like, would have gotten the exact same pleasure, if there was any, watching a Kiss concert on my TV sitting on my couch. It was the exact same thing.
I feel like it would be like my accountant's favorite band, and he would get like dressed up, like paint his own face.
Tony would fucking fight you right now.
Yeah, well, that's not something I need in my life.
Definitely would not have had this in-depth conversation if we had gone with Halloween Candy. I just want to say that.
No, that's going to come.
I have a list. My kid wants to play that one too.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, he's in.
Let me on the Kiss front here. Yeah, they've always been like a marketing band. I mean, that's just the reality. Gene Simmons is a master marketer. He really is. He sells everything. I do like some of their stuff. Like for me, growing up, the Double Platinum album is kind of an iconic album because I had an older brother. So, he owned that right around the time where I shouldn't be hearing it yet. So it kind of holds a place in my heart.
Of course.
But yeah, overall, their body of work is really not good at all. Like I get some of the iconic songs and the radio stuff that you hear in Detroit Rock City, and it, kind of gets you going. But to me, like when your best song is Beth, I don't really think you're a good band. Like I love that song to me, it just got, that's a cute song. And then the rest is just kind of like this weird rock.
I'm not going to say that I hate everything that they've ever made like you. Like, I mean, some of their stuff like Love Gun and there's some cool songs,
But it's the same thing. It's just silly.
The replacements on Let It Be do an amazing cover of Black Diamond, which is pretty good. So like there's some stuff, but their fame is like why are they so fucking huge? All right. My last pick was the band I thought that you said originally, the Eagles, not the Beatles. Yeah, this is a band I just never could get. I hate it. I hate this like folksy country harmonizing gross rock pseudo bullshit. Like I just can't stand. I liked I wish Glenn Fry just made fucking went on his own and just kept doing Beverly Hills Cop soundtracks. I hate everything about I hate everything about the Eagles. Not the Beatles. I like the Beatles. I just really can't say anything else. There's not many songs that I like by them. So the one I'll say after Bobby gives his last one. But anybody want to fight me on the Eagles?
No.
I'm not going to fight you. I do enjoy the Eagles, but nothing past like, their double album that everybody knows. And particularly like Seven Bridges Road, I think is a really good song. And I have a lot of memories of playing the albums and playing darts like in college and stuff and just getting super drunk, listening to the Eagles. And I kind of understand where they stand in the country pop side of things. Like they're not really known for either of those, but that's kind of like their blend, or country rock maybe, or something that kind of bridge the gap between those two genres. But yeah, definitely they fall into the overrated category. I've got some songs I like, but I would give you overrated for sure.
Their best song is
Desperado.
Is better in Spanish. Well, that's their most popular song then. Hotel California it's better in Spanish.
Yeah, I've heard it in Spanish. The guys play it in the kitchen.
And Big Lebowski, when he's what's his name? The guy in purple starts bowling. They're playing that song. No,
Turturro. John Turturro.
The Jesus.
Yeah, I just with the Eagles, like I just again, they're one of those bands that I just don't get it. Like some of their songs, yeah, they're cool. All right, Hotel California. I forgot about that song. It's a great song. It's absolutely great song. When it's on, I'll leave it on. Any other Eagles song comes on,
great guitar solo in that song.
Exactly. Any other Eagles song go, I turn it off. So when you're in that
on my mind.
That one.
I'm singing.
Yeah, I got you. Like when you're on that like Mount Rushmore of like American rock bands like the Eagles are, like a lot of people like to put them. I can't say it. That's all.
Yeah, that works.
Bobby, your final pick here.
It's the last one of the draft, right?
This is you, baby.
All right, let's go with the hate. All right. So this band is another one that I do understand their huge following. I think that they absolutely had their time. I think that they're an enormous band that deserves some credit, all the credit maybe that they've gotten, but I don't understand it. It's not very good. It's just really weird. That band is Generic Christ. No, I'm just kidding, Tony. Fucking Generic Christ. It's Doomzilla. No, I'm just kidding.
What are those?
Tony's bands.
I actually had bands above this band, and I think I was chickening out when I wrote this because I almost didn't want it to be this high. Okay. And again, I'm thinking like, is it truly an overrated band, or is it something I just don't like? And I can admit that this band is good. Therefore, I know it's not pure bias. I'm going with overrated. And that is the mighty Grateful Dead.
Ooh.
Bring on the hate. I get it. You've got loyal fans. I've seen it at your shows. Give me the balloons and everybody has a good time, whatever. But they're fun. They're fine. I'm not into them at all. I don't think they're great musically. Chris, you knew we grew up together around this time. I was not into that at all. Then I was like, okay, Fish better, and then we got into the Mo for a while, like going into all that, enjoyed that. But I just think that the Grateful Dead is just a little bit overrated. By a little bit, I mean like, holy shit, you're fucking way overrated.
Tim, you wanna take this?
There is a joke based on the Grateful Dead. It says, "What did the hippie say to the other hippie when the drugs wore off? This music sucks."
It's not a joke.
And
It's
honestly,
documented.
I love Fish. I'm a huge Fish guy. I never really liked the Grateful Dead. I think the guitar, I think Garcia's guitar is too weak. They went that weird kind of got a little too disco in the middle there. They have a huge catalog though. It's just fucking massive. It's kind of hard to pin them down. Um, I never really got into them. I wasn't into it. It might have been before my time. Like, I wasn't, Garcia died before I really kind of, even knew where my dick was. So yeah.
Oh, I always knew where my dick was.
Okay, so when it comes to the Dead, I like growing up, my buddy, his two brothers were big Deadheads, and they would always go to shows and they'd always have on, like, I knew all. And then when I started working in bars when I was like 14, 15, like all the hits, Truckin' and all those fucking Touch of Grey, all that stuff, and I liked everything I heard. But I never really got into them. I just never really, at that time, listened to them. Then I got really into the jam band scene in my like early 20s, like Fish and Mo and String Cheese, all these bands. And I've probably seen Mo, honestly, easily 60 times in my life. Probably seen Fish at least 10, which is nothing to Fish heads. So I love it. And I started hearing like a lot of Dead at like tailgating and stuff like that. And people would always tell me shows to listen to. You got to get this show, or, I'll send you this show and I'll send you that show. And so I got this collection over the course of a few years of about 10 Dead shows that were just like 10 of the greatest ever. And I listened to them and I absolutely fell in love with them. I mean, I like the music. And I know I shit on the Eagles for that like country pop garbage. There's just it's something about the Dead that I like. Do I think that I think it's insane that like people, when Jerry died, they felt like they lost a fucking family member, that like blind loyalty, like a fucking cult for this band. And Fish is not like that, like not like the Dead. They break off into all these different factions, and it's further, and it's what is it, Wharf Rat, and it's fucking Rat Dog, and it's the same people just fucking follow to that too. It doesn't matter. It's whoever is involved in that band. They go and they sell out and they fucking just, it's like a cult with them. And I see where you're coming from, because you either like the Dead or you think they're fucking just god awful. So, I mean, I get it.
I've gotten to the point that I can sit out on the deck barbecuing and literally I can throw on the Dead channel and not have a problem with it. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's relaxing. It's kind of summertime, sip on a Corona or some shit.
Sure.
But
yeah,
I just feel like in general, they're just overrated for what they bring musically.
I can't argue with it.
Yeah, I mean, they were largely the live show vibe, touring, going to it. Similar to.
There's a lot more of an experience than it is
like,
just a band.
And I feel like that's something that Fish has. Fish has that sort of touring, that vibe.
Sure.
There's a bunch of like grungy, dirty fucking kids with no jobs follow them around too. But like, I feel like musically they're just a lot better.
I just remember the first time, I think I was only a freshman, maybe a sophomore in college, and the Dead came through Providence. And I just remember, and I'm a young kid who can give a shit about most things. And the city was so goddamn littered with like empty balloons and just stupid shit. It just aggravated the hell out of me how dirty it got in like
That's
one
every
night.
show though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of weird.
I used to go to all the Fish shows at MSG like every New Year's.
And stuff.
I've taken so many ice cream scoops out of my brain from those balloons. So
look, musically, there's no comparison between Fish and the Dead. There's just no. The guys in the Dead cannot hold a fucking torch to Trey, Fish, Gordon and fucking Paige. They're just phenomenal. And actually met Mike Gordon at
Family
a
Gordon.
Dave Matthews, Timmy Reynolds acoustic show at Radio City Music Hall, and he was sitting like 3 rows behind us, which was pretty awesome.
So
Like Fish is,
Trey grew up in Princeton, and
yeah, he's from, he's a Jersey boy. Yeah,
his dad and my mom worked together at ETS, right in between Princeton and Lawrence.
so he's like family to you. You're good.
No, well, my mom came home one day with a CD and was like, "Hey, my Bob's kid plays in this band. I think you'd like it." And she gave me Maze, and I was like, "Mom, I already
Dude,
already own this."
I have I'll take a picture of it and send it to you. I have a huge frame in my living room of the Maze album cover, and it's my wife did this
Oh, really?
fucking kick-ass frame around. Yeah, because the cover's amazing. It's
Yeah,
every
the cover's
song
really
in
cool.
there. And yeah, I love the picture. But yeah, I'll send it to you. It's fucking rad.
There's a picture of Trey in a he played for the Lawrence Flames Pee Wee A hockey team.
Yeah, I know he's a big hockey guy.
Out of Lawrenceville, New Jersey, which is the high school I went to. So he
Nice.
grew up playing at my my high school hockey rink.
All right. So anything else you guys want to before?
Speaking of Pee Wee, tonight was practice number 1 for my kid.
For the new squad.
12U Pee Wee team. It was just kind of a meet the coach, get on the ice. Starting tomorrow, I told you guys the schedule. So we've got a 4-day tournament. It's Friday night, Saturday morning and night, and then Sunday night. And as a team, we're going to go out between the 2 games on Saturday and kind of, meet the parents stuff. I talked to a couple people today, but what was really cool from a hockey standpoint is that this was the first time that my kid was actually solidly within a group of his peers of around the same age.
That's
in his
awesome.
hockey journey. When he started a few years ago, it's learn to skate and all that stuff.
Yep.
When he did elementary school, so he's 8, 9, and there's even 5, 6 there. And then the kids who are also 8, 9 were probably the kids that have been doing clubs since they were 4 or 5. So it was a tremendous amount of, like display of talent across the board, and older and super young. And then even in middle school, we've talked about this all year. He's a 5th grader doing the middle school league. So you got kids up to 14. So you got 6 foot, 180 pound kids, and my kid who's 54 pounds. And this was the first time that there was a level playing field. And I saw tryouts of all the 90 kids that were trying out, and I saw the different skill levels, and I was very concerned, to say the least. But we spent some time talking to the coach. He went in there today. We told him it's different now. We said, this is your locker room now. Okay, I'm not here. He can tie. It's just he can't really like lace up a skate real good. I'm like, you're going to get all ready. You can come out to me. We're going to tie him up. Then you're going to go back in. This is your time. He comes out. He's telling me stories about all the people he met, all the kids. He's this person. And my kid's relatively shy. And I'm like, what happened? Are you talking to them? Like, did you bring up? He's like, no, the coach kind of told us all to tell us where we're from, what our age is, where our school is, some fun fact. And it was just kind of like breaking out of his shell. But more importantly, they get on the ice. And again, for the first time, these are all 12U kids. So yeah, there's kids that are better than him. And maybe he's not the best at any one particular skill or total skill set, but he's got things that he might be better than the next kid, like his edge work and the way he can take turns a little tighter than somebody. And it was just so refreshing to finally see a level playing field, as opposed to my little 4-foot kid going against like a 6-foot giant.
This will be a good year for him, especially just kind of for all the things that you said, like, playing amongst his peers where, he's
and
not
socially for him,
chasing the game socially. Like, yeah, that's cool, man. That's really cool to hear, man.
I saw him, like I told you guys before, like we shoot in the backyard. He can lift the puck. I'm not saying he's picking corners left and right, but he can elevate the puck. He can shoot. And then the whole time in middle school league, it was more of a push. It wasn't really like a shot. Right. I'm like, what's going on? It's deferring to the bigger kids and the more skilled kids. And today he's on breakaway drills and all that, and he's lifting the puck. He had one that was like mid-high that the goalie happened to snag out of the air. I'm like, where's this been? Like my whole life. So everything's just been really good.
And his confidence will blow up for it.
Toe drag release, man. Toe drag release.
Tell him we're proud of him, man. Super proud of him. That's
we're
fantastic.
Proud of him. I'm still gonna come up one of these days in my skates and take him out.
We're gonna wrap that, dude. You got to get that shit on video. Timmy goes up there. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
We're gonna wrap this thing up. We're going to put our snake draft on the old Twitter machine, and you guys can vote on it and let us know who is right and who else is wrong and stupid. Wherever you're listening to us, a like, a 5-star review, a positive comment, download, subscription. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you guys know what to do. For Bobby and Tim, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers, and we'll see you when we see you.
See you in September.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
It's over, John.